Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pearls of Wisdom. So we talk about illness again, and I tried to make it short, but it's absolutely impossible. There is so much to say and so much to explain. What I will do this time, I will finish and I go into the symptoms, but just a little bit to see that you can see how this works. And then what I want to do is you can ask questions, and please send them to me before next Friday. That will be Friday, 19th of May. And I will answer those questions in one more session that we do, so that when you have more questions on how certain symptoms work, I can give you more information. And this will be then a little bit more personal, but if you have questions, you can choose if you want me to say who asked or if you wanted to have it anonymous. It's not a problem, because I think this is a topic that is very important in the moment for everybody. Okay, now as it helps me today that I can stay focused, kind of that helps always a little bit if I have somebody. Okay, now as it, you ask the questions, please.
So we come back to what is the meaning of the symptom, and my first question is, why do we have infections and inflammations?
So infection or inflammation represents the most basic aspect of a disease. This is mostly the beginning of a disease, because it shows the conflict. It shows that there is a conflict. So there are two ways. There is either an overfunction or an underfunction, depending how you react. Just as an underfunction, I don't want to go into that very much, but this is very often that you have cold hand and cold feet. And a lot of people who have that, that means I don't want to touch the world. I don't want to stand in the world. You kind of withdraw from the daily life. And then your body goes into underfunction, having not enough energy. Now, the other side is then, even this can give the conflict that afterwards comes in infection and inflammations. But generally, already this fact shows that it is the withdrawal from life, from what we should go on our path. We don't want to confront, we run away. So we say the average people, they have inflammation, and the classical medical terminology, this is always at the end. You can see at the ending of a word is itis, itis, arthritis, for example, hepatitis, colitis, meningitis. This is always pointing out that this is an acute conflict. And as long as the conflict is acute, it is easier to heal it, because the acuteness of the heat, of the fever that comes out of it, is actually that what burns the toxin. So the worst is what you can do is take fever medication to bring the fever down. Then the bacteria or the poison that you have in your body will multiply. And it will stay in the body somewhere. You might have through chemical intervention, you might have some shifts, but the illness is not gone. So look at the infection also. When we look at the terminology, it's always warlike character. That is always, we go to war against illness, we fight it. So the virus and toxins that threaten our person, and we talk here about the body, the persona, the ego, the identification with the body, which most people have. So the conflict expressing itself, also red is fire, right? You have swelling, you have maybe red patches or something, or when you have a fever, your whole body gets hot and red. So that is, again, the fever comes up. The toxins in the body are burned. Now it depends how strong we are in a natural way. Either we as a person win, or if we lose, then we die. That's the two poles of it. There's many ways in between, but it's a war, and it's a war between our ego with our spiritual self. So again, the further away we are from the spiritual journey that we have chosen, the bigger the war between the ego and the higher self, the more sick, the more illness, or the more disease we have. So in this case of the analogy indicates that infection and war have something in common. It is the same structure of struggle against something, a declaration of war, and especially we start to point out to an enemy. So, and this is what medicine is doing. We have all these enemies outside. They are actually bacteria, they're toxins. They talk about virus, but we know that the virus, in fact, is just a dead cell debris, not a living thing. So it's a lot of difficulty, because also the medicine, they use names for illness now that don't make sense anymore. Like, I don't know in English, but that's just from, I mean, German, for example, diabetes. This means like sugar diarrhea. And sugar stands for love, for the sweet things in life. So people who have a diabetes, that means the sugar goes through the body, cannot be absorbed. So these people cannot absorb love. So when you go into the language of the illness, you see very often the connection, like also stiffness, stubbornness, you know, you can see that very clearly, but often people don't see it because they use some kind of Latin or whatever terminology that does not make any sense anymore. So the infection, the inflammation, we have still the fire, something is in motion, like you look at the word inflammation, inflammation, you can translate into motion. So something is in flame, in motion, and that what creates the conflict in the physical. And once we listen to the conflict in the physical and we look what organ that it attacks, we know what it is about. Like, for example, the ears, it's about hearing. I don't want to listen. I don't want to hear certain things. If it's the nose, I don't want to smell something anymore. It's like, you know, that we have sometimes in partnership also, that I cannot smell my partner anymore, things like that. Or eyes, I don't want to look into this world anymore. Like, if I take off my glasses and I look out like this, I see what I really see within. So for me, for example, I can read and everything very good what is closer, but when I look further and for the computer, I want to protection with my glasses. So I make a barrier here with my glasses or contacts or whatever you use. The lung is connected with connection, with contact. The heart is connected with love, you know, and so every organ has a very clear meaning. And so what we have first is always a stimulus. So something, every disease has a primary stimulus, which can be a bacteria, a toxin, whatever it is. And these disease agents are attracted by us because we have a certain problem. So it is very important that I'm not denying that they are physical toxins that make us sick. But we can also see that, for example, even in a flu season or whatever it is, that some people get sick and some people don't. But they are exposed to exactly the same toxins. And this is as long as you are aligned with your sole purpose, you have no affinity, you're strong and you have no affinity to get sick. Then the second phase would be the exudation phase. Now the disease agent have invaded your body fluids, and they come out, they start to make symptoms. Now we have to focus our attention to the body. That means we do it automatically, because once you are in pain or you have something bothering you, that's what you focus on, right? So this is the symptom forcing us to look at the topic. But again, now usually people take painkillers or whatever they take, so they don't have to look at it. Then this is the defense reaction, actually. Since we want to get rid of it as soon as possible, the disease agent, the antigens involved, start to fight with the body reaction. And then the formation of antibodies is what our body is doing, it fighting it. So the body becomes involved in the defense, because the body doesn't want to die, right? So in a way that we can say that the mobilization in the body, all the possible antibodies we have, all the soldiers are called to duty. Another military how to say that?
Right.
Yes. So then this next step would be the fever or whatever. That is like the two forces are fighting each other, and the reaction. So the body heats up to kill the bacteria, and the defense, they prepare on the degrees. And now again, when you lower the fever, the fight cannot be fair, because then these bacteria, they have to go somewhere else and maybe attack another organ. Or wait somewhere, like they encapsulate themselves. Like, for example, antibiotic is said to, I cannot give you that in medical term, I will give that to, as I see it as a psychic. The antibiotic is encapsulating that poison thing that is in here and put it somewhere in the body, sometimes in the joints or somewhere. And a capsule like that holds about 7 years. And then it's done. And so that means that generally after 7 years, a certain illness come back. I know that people talk about the difficult 7th year connected to the Saturn rhythm. But again, Saturn again is just showing a certain time quality. And it's just showing that it's time that you look back at what you had there 7 years later, you are reminded on the same thing, because it's a certain rhythm that we have to look at. So if everything goes well, comes the release, then the body defenses have been successful. They force back the invaders, destroy the enemy, and the body is releasing toxins in all kind of forms, you know, through the skin, through urine, through the colon, through even sometimes vomiting is important, or whatever's coming, we get rid of the toxins. Or the body does not win, then the step would be death. Or now we said again, that's I'm coming back to the antibiotic, that would be a chronic disease developing out of an acute disease. And this is something that stays in the body and get worse and worse and worse and worse with time, but it's not acute. This is one reason why when we work with alternative medicine, once we start to work with things that are a long time in the body already, they become acute again. And this is what we call the healing crisis, because we have to kind of trigger that poison that is in the body to come out again. So we force the body in a way through that to fight again and to pull all that poison out of tissue, of wherever it is, and then it can be eliminated. So this is a natural healing process of the body and soul, because this goes together. The body's in harmony with the journey of the soul, and the toxins are gone. And in a way, we can say this is exactly what is happening now in the world. This is all, see, we have a very chronic disease that the world has as a being, as an entity, as Mother Gaia, as Pachamama, have already for millennia. And now that all that toxin is coming to the surface to be eliminated. And this is one reason why certain negative beings, they cannot stay. The toxin has to go. So the conflict in my life is what I'm failing to see on my spiritual journey. So we can look at it, what conflict am I falling into, and then we can see what the symptoms want to tell us. And if we look, instead of just taking medicine that juggles the symptoms around and cures something and isolates something, but it's getting worse and worse. So when we face it, and this is again homeopathy, flower essences, natural medicine, even meridians, you know, meridian is also connection between material and spiritual. This kind of subtle remedies that give us information will help.
Wow.
And then when the chronic process comes, it also goes into allergies. Allergies, like, for example, that there are for a very, very long time with people. This is, and we can start to ask, why am I refusing to tolerate aggression in my consciousness? Because all kind of allergies are an expression of aggression. So we have to look at, because look how we are educated. We are educated to shut up, do not talk what we really think. We have to be people pleaser. We have to please our boss. We have to please everybody to be good enough. So we have to suppress all our negative feelings and don't let them out. And the more we suppress them, the stronger and the bigger they become, the more they become aggression. And that's why so many people have allergies, which is absolutely only expression of aggression. So whatever it is, like, for example, if you're allergic against strawberries, strawberries again is the sweetness of life, then people there, they have a problem with sexuality. Or the dust, the dust allergies is like the cleanliness. It's always at the end also going back to sexuality. Hay fever, all that kind of stuff is mostly because people in way back, we say the relationship with our bodies has never been good. Now, at our time, sexuality was suppressed, and you can only have sex if you're married, and then you don't talk about it, like the girls when they were like 12, 14, when they come into menstruation. Many girls didn't even know what happened. Oh my God, I'm bleeding. What happened? They never been really talked to what happened. And then came the next step, that the situation that the mother give the girl a kind of napkin and tell, okay, you're gonna bleed and be careful and don't go close to guys, and all this kind of, and today is going in the complete direction with all this sexual confusion. So we always had the problem. And this is because this is a natural way. And from Orgon, Dr. Wilhelm Reich, the psychiatrist who had researched the orgasm, and the word orgon comes from orgasm actually, and about that peak of energy with the sexual orgasm and all the secrets that are connected with it. People don't want us to know, because there is power. So most allergies are connected with sexuality.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. So I don't remember. I have.
So,
What
so
is?
what the next question? You mean what is the meaning of respiration symptoms?
Okay. Okay. So we come to respiration. This is the breathing, right? So actually, I have. Wait a second. I have from Goethe a very nice poem. Okay, here it is. In breathing, there are two blessings: drawing breath, releasing again. One pressurizes us, the other refreshes us. So wonderful makes this life. So that means we have the pressure, we release, we have the pressure, we release. That's what is life all about: taking in, taking out, breathing in, breathing out. So whenever you have a problem with the respiration, you're not in harmony with the rhythm of life. So we also talk about the breathing. In Latin, the word breath is spirare, and spirare is spiritus, spirit. So the air that we breathe in is actually connected with spirit, inspiring. It is inspiring us. It is like in the Sanskrit, it's Atman, which in German is Atman. Atman is the same word. So we find all the different connection with air and spirit. So when we have respiration problem, we are not assimilated in life with the rhythm. And either, you know, asthma, for example, is people cannot let go. They take in and have a feeling and they cannot release. So that is kind of a greed, a kind of a, I want more, I want more. And also asthma, for example, when you give people medication for asthma, the asthma might go away, but you know what comes out afterwards? Allergies. So you go to the doctor, you get a good medicine, and you're very happy. Your asthma is gone. 6 months later, you got suddenly an allergy. And you don't think much about it. You go back to the doctor and say, oh, this guy helped me last time very well. So go back, and to your very surprise, he give you the same remedy. Kind of, okay. And it works. Oh, I'm so happy the allergy is gone. A few months later, you're going to have asthma again. So this is going forth and back and forth and back. This is pushing the symptoms around, but not clearing the problem. So again, we have to look at the situation. So for example, when you have respiratory symptoms, what is taking my breath away? What I'm, oh my God, you know, look at what it is in your life that is taking your breath away. Or what is unwilling to, what I'm unwilling to accept. Because if you are with other people in the same room, you all breathe the same air. There is no other air. It's always the same air. So sometimes it's very often that you have people around you. I cannot breathe around that person anymore. That is a problem with a person. Partnership again, or boss and whatever employee. Or again, what I'm unwilling to give out to give. This is the asthma that I just explained, and what I'm unwilling to come in contact with. Again, we all breathe the same air, and the contact is like breathing in, breathing in. I'm in contact with everything, you know. And then again, am I afraid to take steps towards my freedom or new freedom, or release things in my life, to move on, to become bigger, to breathe wider, you know, like when you're compressed, you cannot breathe. It's already this, when you open your arms, you can, you know, you become wide, and people who are small, who are coming also like that, also with the shoulders often like that, are people who have breath problems because they cannot open up. And then do I let others bully me? Remember when somebody's bullying you and you go kind of in this position, that again has something to do with the lung. Or do I believe in myself? Can I stand straight forward and tell you what I really think? Or do I let others control my life? These are all questions that are connected with breath, with respiration. So you can see that's already a lot. We take everything in through the air. Just look at pollution. Look how important it is when we have poison in the air, we breathe it. And this is a very easy way to manipulate people also, to put certain agent into the air and they breathe it, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. So let's have a look here.
So what the next question is about the symptom of the digestion.
Yeah, the digestion again, you know, you have to digest life. And we have to digest food, right? The food gives us energy to live our life. So this is connected with living. So what is it? First, we take food through our mouth. And the first thing is what we do is we chew it. And the teeth has something to do with aggression. The teeth is reducing the food, chewing it aggressively, destroying the structure of the original food, mixing the food with our own juices, saliva, to prepare it for digestion. So the teeth, the first step, have to do again with aggression. That's why most people have tooth problems. Because again, we are not allowed to live our aggression. That's the brainwash. That's the program that is already in schools. The first thing you cannot express yourself. Then the next step is like when we have swallowing, you know, this is that area here. When you have pain here, you're not able anymore to swallow life. You're not able anymore to swallow what's around you. So when you have also one thing that is really important, always look at the time when a symptom comes up. Who is there? What are you doing? What circumstances are you in that moment when a pain comes up and when it gets more and more? So what can you not swallow anymore? Incorporate the food. Now it's this swallowing is the motion that brings the food really into your body. As long as it's up here, you can still spit it out, you know, but once it's really coming down here, it's moving into the body, right? And then the stomach, we have now the food is moving into the stomach where we have very aggressive acid, again, to destroy the food. So, you know, the acid reflux is, for example, also, it's literally that the person is sour. That we are kind of, that we feel that life is not good to us, that I'm sour with life, that I don't really want to eat that food, that life anymore. So it prepares, the stomach prepares the food to be assimilated then later in the colon. And it goes through, part of it is assimilated. So again, what can I digest? What can I assimilate? And what do I need to let go? So when we have problems with the colon also, it shows these topics about assimilation. What can I really take in from life? I mean, how much can I learn from my experience? We said that, you know, one thing, especially in the flower essences, we have one of these flowers that we say, intelligent people make a lot of mistakes. Stupid people make always the same mistake. So because this is error and trial, that's why we are here to experience life, to learn. So we have to make many mistakes. Well, the word mistake, to take, shows that I try and I try till I can take it. So that is about experience. I have to make mistakes first that I can often
Ah,
take it and
okay.
have the experience. So again, how much can I absorb my life? How much can I learn from it, and how can I let go? So, for example, constipation is like cannot let go. Or diarrhea is the opposite. Is I'm too much afraid to absorb food, because then it just whoosh goes through us, like in a way, like the diabetes I said is like a sugar diarrhea, and when you have a diarrhea, it's like you cannot absorb life, and it just goes through you. You cannot absorb the nutrition that we need for our body. So you can see there is a lot of information here already in the digestive tract, which is very, very important. And again, when we have inflammation processes in the digestive system, we can see that this is an acute problem that is still facing you. But when it's getting into a chronic disease, the problem in the outside world might not be there anymore, but it's in your body. Every symptom that is in your body has fallen into the body, and you don't see it anymore. You're not aware of it. So we have to bring it back up. And this is part of the like help of people who understand the language of illness, that they can see what ails a person, and then we can start to work at it to see the problem again, and then the illness will be gone.
Oh.
Sorry, that's how it is. Okay.
So what are symptoms in the sense organs like eyes and ears?
Well, actually, I mentioned that already. Eyes is what I don't want to see anymore. Ears is what I don't want to hear anymore. I don't have the question in front of me, so I just went with my notes, what I hear with the keywords. Let me see here quickly.
And how about the other organs?
Well, you know, each organ, actually, when you look what the organ is about, you get very clear information. Like, for example, here we have storage of energy. Like, again, when we have in our stomach, when we have food, right? Or when we have in our body too much fat or too much water or whatever it is, this is like a storage of too much of something. Water is in generally has something to do with emotions, and most people here also, again, emotion, we have the whole topic of aggression, of allergies, that we are not allowed to live our feelings. We are not allowed to live who we really are. So the body starts to store, and stores either fat. Fat is usually for people who are very lazy. They have already a digestive problem, and then okay, they get fat. They have heavy problems, and the heavy body shows the heavy problems. And then we can also find out which organ is not really, that's under function. You know, over function is people who are very skinny, that they digest way too fast. The things go all too fast, and you cannot take out the information of it anymore because it's too fast. And the more fat somebody is, the more heavy problems, the more lazy problems they have. What we see much more today in a generation where people just crash in front of a TV, and instead of going out and playing, even the kids already, the TV has become babysitter, you know, and the game boards and game whatever, and they don't do it anymore. And then this is the fantasy that they have about life, what it could be, but they don't really live and experience it. This is just in the fantasy, but not live as a body.
Ah. Oh, I just one question. How about the kidneys?
Kidney is connected with partnership. We have a left kidney and the right kidney in the back, right? And it is connected with water, water, emotion, feelings. And the left is female, the right is male. So we can see also with what principle of female or male we have a problem. And this is not said that because a man has mostly a problem with the right and the woman with the left, it's can be opposite. It just is like what pole of polarity of male and female, yin and yang, you have emotional problems with it. And again, we have the same topic that goes back into sexuality. I think none of us have ever had a proper explanation or education about sexuality. It was just either bang thrown on you or suppressed or whatever. So we can say our whole society has sexual problems, which is something that leads to a lot of different symptoms.
Oh.
Okay, let me see here. Like, for example, also the tongue, the taste buds has something to do with tasting things. Can you taste life? So you can see very often that people, and they are full of fungus when they put out your tongue is completely white. And when your body is full of fungus, what most people are, because they eat too much sugar, they have too much sweets. No, a little bit. So we can, when you can see sometimes really white, like a fur on top of the tongue, right? And you know, for example, every cancer patient has fungus in the body. Oh, too much fungus in the body. Every. So when you have a fear in this direction, go first and do something about the fungus, because that is connected with too much carbohydrates, too much sugar, and all the so-called food plans that we have to eat a lot of carbs is not good for our bodies. In fact, we should have more proteins and not so many carbs. So, and the liver is a chemical factory to discriminate what is good for us and what is not. So when you just bombard the liver with all kind of junk food, now remember, our body has an intelligence, and this innate within our body knows how to digest and select certain things for the body. But now we give a lot of chemical stuff to our body, diet products that are made with very funny things that are actually our body's not able to digest. So it comes into the liver, and the liver don't know what to do with it, because there is no information for the liver what to do. Also, for example, if you have microwaved food, which is changing the structure of the food, the digestive act through the whole body cannot properly be executed anymore. So there is a lot of poison in our food that our organs cannot handle. So the liver is one of those, when our physical laboratory to say what is good and bad for us doesn't function anymore, you know, that goes very often pretty fast, that with liver cancer people die. And this is because if the body cannot see anymore what is good and what is not good for me, how can we live, you know? And again, that has, the more natural food you eat, the closer you are to nature, the less you burden your organs. And then the bones, the bones represent our structure. When bones are weak, this is a bad sign that we have no structure. We also talk about backbone, you know, again, standing straight or being like this, like people who carry a lot of heavy burden always, also for others that are bent. And then we have the joints, which is connected with flexibility. How flexible are you, or how stiff, you know, stiffness, stubbornness. So it actually, when we look closer, it talks a very, very clear language. And, you know, if you are not sure about the symptoms and want to find out more, it's relatively easy if you go online and you just look at the organ, what it does. And then you look at the situation you personally are in, like, and then you look at when does a symptom appear? In which circumstances do I have a headache, or do I have a stomachache? And of course, it is also connected with physical food you eat. So for example, if you eat certain food every time you have acid reflux, then look at this, at the food. Does the food have life energy? Is the food natural? There is a lot of things we can go from there. But generally the rule is, the more natural the food is, the less problem you have. Again, the more natural you live your life, connected with the purpose of your life, the sole purpose of your life, the less problem you have with illness.
We have to focus in our body and mind.
Yes, that's it. So I think it's really important that we need some time for meditation, or we need some time to reconnect with our higher self, what I stress always. And again, I can just say the same again and again. If you start with this little affirmation, I surrender to the higher self, to the divine self, to the God within, or whatever you want to call it, and ask for guidance, tell me what I need to know. Don't ask specific questions. I mean, you can, and sometimes I do too, but generally tell me what I need to know, because then things come, because I don't know what I don't know, so I cannot ask for it, right? Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. So I think this is a lot to digest again. And as I said in the beginning, please, if you have questions now, write it down and send them to me. I have a link down there in my blog page. You can also ask there, or you can put it in the comments. We will collect the questions and look into them and answer them in our next session. Okay, thank you very much for listening. Nawasi, thank you very much for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I don't have to do it alone.
Yeah, thank you so much for your answers.
Good.
Very, very interesting.
Okay, I think it's more than interesting. It really can be life-changing if you look at it again. Okay, so please give us a like, a thumbs up, and I see you next week again. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.